This is the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast, where we spread awareness for men's mental health and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. New episodes drop weekly. This is the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast, and tonight I am joined by Gianna Varrati, and I'm going to share her story, raise awareness for mental health, and also how it applies for veterans and first responders, and really all those that have put themselves in harm's way and their families. While you're watching, go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, and don't forget to check us out on Spotify, Amazon, and also on Apple Podcast. Gianna, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, of course. And I think we met through Tyler Hoover, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's how we got connected. But
I'm not sure.
somebody on Instagram.
Well, we connected somewhere.
Yeah, it was Instagram has been kind of a networking platform for me. So I've met a lot of great people, and it's really cool to see how many folks are out there really trying to just help veterans and first responders and raise awareness for mental health.
Yeah.
Well, I like to kind of start each episode with the beginning. Can you kind of start us with, where you grew up, what your childhood looked like, and we'll kind of move from there and then get to where you are today?
Yeah. So I grew up in Anchorage in Alaska, lived here my whole life. The house that I live in currently is the house I grew up in.
Wow.
So when I went through my divorce, that was something that was a priority to me because I knew that my mom would eventually have to come live with me and she knows the layout. And so just sticking with something that's familiar to her. So grew up here, never moved away, which is crazy. Everybody I know has moved away, but um, I really do love it here. It's nice people. It's very small townish. I mean, almost 400,000. That's pretty small town though.
Yeah.
Grew up here. My dad was in the Army for a while, and then he got out and he worked, both my parents worked in corrections, and my bonus dad was a judge. So I grew up around law enforcement and seen, and then I married into the Army. So then seeing the triggers, which I really dislike that word, but seeing the struggles that they all go through, and then also being a family member, what the families or the people that love those first responders and military people, what they also have to endure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I grew up, my dad's retired Army. I grew up on base really until fifth grade, and we moved a lot. And my dad was in special operations when I was really young. So I kind of saw, even as a little kid, the stress it put on my
Yeah.
mom raising two boys. And now
Yes.
my brother is basically living the life my dad did. He's got three kids. So yeah, it does play a toll on the families for sure.
hmm I always tell people, like, if you love a service member or a first responder, then I'm going to keep you in my heart and I'm going to try to take care of you or get you the resources that you need if it's not what we do.
Well, so you said you kind of stayed in the same area your whole life. Did you like go to college anywhere away from home, or did you kind of still
In
stay in the
Alaska.
state? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right.
I can't even make it all up. Like, homegrown girl right here.
That's funny. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. And then I got married and he was in the military, just retired out, and is now a police officer. So
Okay.
I kind of stay in that realm of people, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about tactical Barbie designs, and then also, your other projects that you're involved with, to kind of
Yeah.
let our listeners know more about you.
Yeah, Tactical Barbie is kind of a funny one because for funsies, anybody should Google like Alaska National Guard scandal. It is crazy. Your dad probably knows all about it. So when my former husband was on his last deployment, there was a scandal at the National Guard where this group of individuals, to include the general, were being investigated for human trafficking, drugs, rape, like this whole variety of things. And my ex-husband was deployed, and he was the person that took care of me, right? Like he was the protector. So I was home by myself with my kids, and one of the other guys was like, "You need to learn how to shoot." And I was like, Mm-mm, I'm not doing that. I'm not touching a gun. I've never touched a gun, knew nothing about it. But one in particular person out of this group of people that were being investigated kept stalking me. And he would leave like little notes on my vehicle because I worked at the armory.
Wow.
He was a really big guy. I'm 5'10", so if you're bigger than me, you're really big. And he would just come sit next to me at the gym and be like, "What do you think? What do you think your husband's going to think if he sees you're in the gym with me?" And I don't even know how I got this courage. I was just like, he's not going to effing care. And so then I learned to shoot, and I was like, this is the greatest, most empowering thing I have ever done in my life. And I didn't want any other women to feel the way that I was feeling while this guy was stalking me. So I made all these t-shirts for all my little girlfriends so we could go to the range, and I ordered them on Vistaprint. It was so cheesy. Um, and that one t-shirt sold like it went crazy, kind of went like viral cultish. And really all it was the design so that somebody will ask me about the
Mm,
company, and then I can help you find resources or training or something like that. But I just really had the mentality that I never wanted, and not just women, but another person to feel as scared as I was. And I say person because I was at SHOT one year and this police officer called me and he said, "Hey, can we have a cup of coffee?" And I was like, "For sure." And he said, "You always make references to women being abused, but you never make references to men being abused." And
mm,
I was like, "What?" It had never occurred to me. And then I started talking to all my big guy friends, and every one of them had a story of how one of their partners had potentially abused them. So I'm really careful on the person now. It is Tactical Barbie because I'm tall and blonde, and that's just what they called me at the range.
hmm.
But then I got a cease and desist from Mattel.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, just some little girl in Alaska for using the word Barbie. So that's why that's spelled differently. And we had to take down all of our social media and everything until we cleared that up.
Wow.
So, yeah, insane.
Yeah.
So we're really just making sure that whether it's your voice or a gun, if you choose to use a gun, let's get you trained. Um, just finding some way so you don't feel like you're walking into the grocery store with your head down. You're situationally aware. You're doing all the things that you need to do to be safe for
Yeah.
yourself and for your children if you have children.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
awesome.
love it. I really love it.
More
And
men
it's
need that
fun to,
too.
yes,
I mean, outside of the abuse thing, just in general, like being aware of their surroundings and carrying themselves a certain way. You'll see that if you move here, as we were talking
I
off
will see
camera.
that. I mean, I went to Broadway Street one time, and that's
Oh
the whole
god,
Broadway Street. Nobody's paying attention to
dude,
anything.
how long ago was that?
Maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay, yeah, Nashville's insane. Yeah,
I
it's
can't.
insane.
I love the outskirts and like the little clubs,
Yeah.
the little bars that you can go to, the dive bars and listen to live
Hmm.
music. But
Yeah.
that strip, no, thank you. I could do without.
Yeah.
So it's going to
Nashville.
be cool.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
and ignore my Christmas tree that I haven't taken down yet.
I didn't
We
even notice it till just now.
I designed a line of concealed carry handbags with a
Oh
woman
wow.
in Italy a few years ago, and we did the NRA show. Unfortunately, because they're Italian leather, they were going for like $2,000. Yeah, not the best thing, but it was cool because when you came to the booth or to show, my big thing is I don't think that any person and or woman should buy a concealed carry anything without being trained on how to do it
Percent.
because they don't know how to draw. It's you feel like you're safe even though you're not safe now.
Hmm.
Can you get that gun out?
Right. Right. I agree.
So there's where we are with that.
Tell us, what about the National Warrior Foundation? Can we get into that?
Yeah, for sure. So again, this is probably not going to shock you, but when 9/11 happened, I had four brothers. I was very protected my whole life, a very Italian father. Didn't really, I mean, lived here. Didn't really know bad things happened because they didn't let bad things happen to me.
Hmm.
So I remember 9/11 happened and I rolled over and looked at my husband and I'm like, we're at war. Like I was freaking out. and then he deployed, and then I got a job with the Guard. And so through that, we, at least our Guard, did not have any SOPs on how to do with suicides or suicidal ideation. And because it's Guard, right, they would come home from deployment and then we'd send them back out to the villages.
Mhm.
Very few lived actually in Anchorage or main hubs. So watching that and seeing the struggles that they're all dealing with, and then two of my brothers took their lives.
Oh,
So
man.
already mental health was something very that I prioritized a lot. So I started volunteering with a lot of veteran organizations here and seeing that they could get that. A lot of veteran organizations here are all do hunting. We'll just say hunting,
Yeah.
fishing, something along that lines, of course, because it's Alaska. Um, so I worked for a couple organizations, and then when my mom moved in, I left and was like, I still want to do this. These are the people that I love that take care of me. So I want to make sure that they're taken care of. So my best friend, the one that lives there, and then one of our other friends that was a canine guy, we started the National Worry Foundation. So our goal is to bring holistic and evidence-based treatments to service members and their families and first responders. So we have a group called the Valkyrie Project. It's only for women. Just with the uptake of MST, we wanted to make sure they had a place that they could have that conversation and feel safe.
Mhm.
So we partnered with Paul Mitchell. And then I fly down for a weekend. Paul Mitchell does full makeovers for the girls. We
Wow.
have a whole weekend just helping them build community for one another. And then they have to meet once a month to continue to stay in good standing. Coffee, go for a walk. I don't really care. Just take care of one another because I'm here. I can't
Mhm.
fly down every weekend.
Right.
Um, and then we did equine therapy up here until this last fall. Um, the herd wasn't as healthy as they needed to be for the veterans, but and then my actual job is PTSD therapy. We do deep TMS for our service members and first responders. So I think everything in my life has led up to just making sure that people feel strong and that they're healthy mentally. Um, I can't do everything. I can only do what my little piece of the world is and what God told me to do, and that's what God told me to do.
That's amazing. It's so incredible that you're such, so service oriented and really trying to help. Well, you are helping, you're not trying, but doing so much because it's so important, especially in men. There's still that stigma where men don't want to talk. And I was one of those guys for years and just want to internalize everything. So it's really, really inspiring to hear you just talk about all these different things and how much you're doing to help and give back because
Thank you.
I mean, and I thought about this today. So many people say they love the military or they love cops, but at the end of the day, are they really doing anything to help those
Yeah,
organizations? And it's really encouraging to see that you are doing that. I mean, know more about it than the average person, but you're doing a lot to help those
thank you.
communities. Yeah.
Especially with first responders, I think because they have to internalize and they see so many horrible things on a day-to-day basis.
Hmm.
Obviously, the military deploys and sees horrible things as well, but I know from being married to a police officer that he would come home and just have nothing, nowhere to vent. And I'm not the best person, especially if you have something to do with children and something bad happens to a kid or an elderly person. I just don't even want to hear about it.
Yeah.
So I think in our first responder community, they're taught not to necessarily seek out help. I did a class for the fire department here and police officers like many years ago, and we were just talking on procedures and things to look out for. And I remember that one of the firefighters came up afterwards, who I'd gone to college with, and he said um, that he had tried to take his life, and he had just gotten put on leave because he said, "I went to this home. We already knew that the adults were going to be deceased in the house from a drug overdose." And he said, "But Gia, I looked and they were in the hot tub. There was a brand new newborn baby that they had
Mm.
the baby had drowned." And he was like, "I just can't do it anymore." And all of a sudden that hit me like, she every day you have to go through
Yeah.
this. every single day. So luckily, though, I just saw him last summer and he's doing really good. So
Good,
there's
good.
a light at the end of the tunnel. But like you said, we need to make sure that people are speaking about it and feel comfortable speaking about it. What made you come out and feel
Uh,
comfortable to do it?
well, I actually, I hit rock bottom, and, I've been sober about 4.5 years. And,
Congratulations.
thank you. I had an accident where I got injured and was given an ultimatum when I was still married, either get help or I'm gone. And so I was kind of scared straight, I guess you could say. And then honestly though, Gia, Christ, I found Christ again. I was raised in the church and then I kind of walked away from him for most of my adult life and came back to him kind of like the prodigal son story. And
Yeah,
that kept me kind of on the right path. I got involved in a men's group and I ended up getting divorced. She ended up leaving after my first year of sobriety, but I was able to stay the course because of the
yeah,
Lord. And then just being there, really putting my kids in a light where I wanted them to know not all the ins and outs of my story, but that it was okay to make mistakes and that,
yeah,
you deserve to be you should deserve to have a dad that's healthy and a dad that's there for you. And so I think for me, not being because I've been out of law enforcement for 15 years. So I'm a personal trainer by day. That's my regular job. And there's not as much of a stigma in the fitness industry compared to first responder role when it comes to mental health. And I
hmm,
think when you're going to call after call after call, you're trying to be the best at the department or whatever you're trying to do, it's easier to stay quiet because you don't want to show weakness.
yeah,
And so for me healing, I was far removed from that. And honestly, I was just prideful. And I had to just humble myself before God and say, God, I can't do this on my own. And it took hitting rock bottom, but now I see that God had a plan for me and I needed to go
yeah,
through these trials so that I could this is my way of giving back and trying to share with others, especially men that are in positions like that I was in where they thought, "Oh, I can do this on my own. I don't need any help." And that's wrong. Most of us need some help. Um, and it's a community-based thing, and I'm really trying to grow it and build friendships and just show people like, "Hey, it's okay to have struggles and to have had a past, but it doesn't define who you are." So,
that's right. It's not your identity. It's
right,
something you went through.
right.
I I love that, and I don't think that I knew that you were in law enforcement before, so I
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
Prior military
Um,
too. Yeah, I'm prior military and law enforcement.
what? Oh my gosh, how had we not connected previously?
Well, the
That's
funny thing
crazy.
is when I started this podcast, I really did not set out to, be a veteran podcast. And then all of a sudden, it's God working. All these veterans and cops started coming my way. And I don't, everybody I have on the show isn't necessarily related to those fields, but it was just kind of wild. I'm like, why are they all coming to me? I didn't do anything special. But
You're the nucleus.
yeah, I guess. But I can relate to guys and girls in a different way than maybe the average podcast goes. But the thing that I try to do is get to know the person more than
Yeah.
just the job they had. And I'll use the SEAL teams as an example. I went through SEAL training when I was in the Navy. I didn't get the trident, but I went through the training. But if I interview a SEAL, I want to hear about their story, but I want to know more about the individual and who they
Mhm.
are and what they're doing now versus, some of just the other shows that are big. You just hear all the cool war stories. And I respect the hell out of that. But I want to get to know the person more so than
Yeah.
just the warfare device. That's just kind of how I see it.
I think is interesting, and thank you for doing both of those positions. Um, when I see mental health and people that are struggling with them, there's usually a series of transition that's happening around them, right? So getting out of the military, leaving law enforcement, could be a divorce, could be, but something is happening. There's a shift in their life, and they're unable at that moment or feel unable to make sure that they have a light on the other side of that. I a big part of transitioning service members, especially anyone who is in special operations, is all they ever talk about their life. But you have to know that that's not your whole identity. You
Mhm.
are a whole nother person, and we just need to get you there so you feel good about that. Still tell the stories. I don't care. I mean, the Rangers are like the Killer Man sons, some of my greatest friends in the world. but they all have their own persona as well. And
Mhm.
yes, they tell a lot of ranger stories, and I love them, but I mean, they're some of the smartest people I know, like business owners doing
Mhm.
all of these other things to the for the community and for their local communities. And I think that's something we need to focus on more.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's great to highlight a career and accolades,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, like you said, that transition period can be hard. You've got to have your identity. And one thing I try to do is spread the gospel through the mental health piece and say, okay, you have your identity should be, if you're a believer, is in Christ.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, yeah, be proud of the accomplishments that you have because you should be, because very few people sign up and join
Yeah.
the military, become first responders. But at the end of the day, what's your legacy you're going to leave behind? What are you showing your
That
family?
answer.
You know, that's how I look at it now. I didn't see that until I got sober, but that's how I look at it now. Um, 'Cause I was telling Mike when I was on his show earlier today, I want my son who's 7 years old, I don't want him to grow up to be like me. I want him to be Jacob, but I want him to know that I'll I will be there for him and I love him no matter what, and I'm proud of him, and I try to really
Mhm.
drive that point home to him because. Unfortunately, not all men in first responder roles in military kind of had that encouragement growing up. It was more, you got to be the best. You got to do this. You got to
Yeah.
do that. And so I'm an 80s kid. So, I mean, it was just kind of
Me
don't
too.
talk.
Me too.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like, don't talk about your feelings. Like, don't be, what, but, trying to change
But I
that up.
love that you're doing that. And you're also, well, one, you're showing him that men can make mistakes
Hmm.
and that they can grow from it. And you're showing him how to be a good man. And you're showing your daughter what to expect in a man.
It's a good point.
It,
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
mean, I wasn't always the greatest mom, but I try really hard. My one thing my son said to me at one point is, "I just want a job where I can give back like you do." And I was like, "I don't even think I'm doing anything great. I think I'm just doing me." Is what
Yeah.
I mean. I used to wake up. My parents divorced when I was 2, and my mom would bring in. My mom also took care. She lobbied for domestic violence victims and for veterans, Vietnam veterans. So I would wake up and there would be like survivors sleeping on the floor, veterans, whatever. So it's a very natural thing for me to transition into living a life like that. But my parents gave me good example, both sets of them. And I think what you're doing is commendable, and hopefully your children, even though it's 16, sometimes that can be a little
Yeah.
sassy, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully they
Yeah.
do really appreciate it and see you being a good man and a good role model.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Heck yeah.
So I wanted to ask you because you mentioned you felt God called you to do this. So at what point in your story, like, did you grow up in the church? Like, when did God become real for you? I like to ask guests that when they
Yeah.
come on.
I grew up in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
I'm not a practicing Catholic right now. And then my mom, when she would lobby, she would have to go to Juneau. So we would stay home. So I started going to church with my neighbors when I was in high school. I was like, oh, well, I still want to go to church and she's not here. So I'm going to go with them. So I went to a Christian church. And then after my divorce, started going back to my faith. Just, divorce is not an easy thing to go through.
No,
And
it's
I
not.
needed some strength.
No, it's not.
So we talk about it often. And especially in our core group of friends, like sometimes you need to believe in something bigger than yourself.
Hmm.
So
Awesome.
that's my
No, that's good. And I think a lot of us that are trying to be more self-aware and evolve and grow, we've got to have that, that light to kind of gravitate towards because we realize you can't do it all on your own. And faith is what carries a lot of people. I know for me, it's really helped me a lot. And that doesn't mean you necessarily maybe always understand things, but putting the Lord in everything that you do. And I'm not going to get political tonight, but I did want to address this because of
yeah.
all the latest stuff with the Epstein files. In my opinion, that just shows you how much evil is really in this world. And you got to pick a side. I mean, you
Isn't
either
that scary? Like
it, it's
I
it's
didn't
all
read the files, but I'm just seeing the headlines come through.
it's pretty it's one of those things to me. because I kind of go down rabbit holes sometimes, and it's like all the conspiracy theorists, people were kind of like, oh, they're crazy. This would never happen. It's like, wow, maybe they were right. I mean, it's just, it's wild to see how many connections are coming out. And I don't know, as the older I get, the less I get into like pro sports and celebrities, but man, there's a lot of people they're naming. It's just, it's
It's
crazy.
really scary. And you think, I mean, I, when I was young, just because I did have four brothers, um, trusted everybody. Like I
Hmm.
was definitely in the white all the time, like not paying attention, thinking the world is great and everybody's so nice, everybody wants to be my friend. And I would have never thought someone would have, intentions like that. And it scares me because they are not the only people in the world that are doing this. He
Yeah.
just happened to be the people that got caught because he had big names. So we need to teach our children and people that they need to be aware and not, and I hate even being that way because I want to trust everybody and I really want to believe people have good intentions. But unfortunately, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of also where Tactical Barbie came from. Like, I want to make sure that men and women feel that they can feel comfortable going into the grocery store, at night, that they
Hmm.
have that power within themselves. And man, that Epstein thing, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it gets me
No,
going.
it's wild, and I mean, especially some of these people that were elected in office, and you're supposed to look towards like, hey, this person's got their
Yes.
best interest for our country. Nah, I don't think so. But
No, false gods.
yeah, that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. And I think having that solid foundation in scripture and believing in the Lord, it kind of shows us like, hey, I mean, ultimately anyone can be corrupted. It doesn't excuse it, but there is an enemy and he is there and he is trying to, be at work and destroy things. And so we've got to
Yeah,
focus on Christ because he is coming back. And well, I told my son the other night we were talking, we have some deep conversations about the Lord, and I told
I
him, I said,
love that.
yeah, I said, well, and I just to be clear, it took me working on myself and reading some books and listening to podcasts and getting back into church where I was able to feel even comfortable doing that with him. And there's a Bible app that I use. And so he and I do the verse of the day every day and we talk about it. And
Oh,
and he's 7, so he kind of sometimes will get sassy about it. But so we do it. But I was telling him, I was like, buddy, I said, don't ever put a um person above your parents or above Christ. Don't ever make,
that's right.
like a ball player or a musician. It's okay to be a fan of certain people, but don't make an idol out of them because what you see on TV may not necessarily be who they are. And you don't want to put
Exactly.
anybody above your parents or Jesus. And he was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Cause he's always talking about Elon Musk because he likes Tesla trucks. So I grazed over. I didn't get into gory details, but I was
I
like,
was like,
buddy,
wait,
yeah,
wasn't he
yeah,
named in one of
he
the
was,
papers?
he was. And I just said, buddy, I said, you may be getting a Tesla truck for about $10 in the next couple of years. But I said, just don't put him on a pedestal, bud, because
Yeah.
that is not, it's not always the best idea. And you need to make sure that your heart is with Jesus. And I know he's only 7, but I'm trying to instill in him things that I didn't learn until
Yeah.
I got older in life because I had a solid foundation in church growing up, but I always feared God. I didn't have a close relationship with
Yes.
Jesus. I was afraid of him. So now
Yes.
I try to change that a little bit for my son and my daughters.
I think it's a good moral foundation too, right? Like
Hmm.
there are wrongs and rights.
Yeah.
And maybe you slip sometimes, and that's okay, but this is where the foundation is. Um, and I think that the Bible is a really great place to start with that.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
I love that. I'm glad you do that for your kids. Is it the Halo app?
I think I think it's you. What's it called? Let me pull it up. It's right. I was going to do a verse with us tonight. I think it's called U version. It just says Bible, but I think it's like U
Okay.
version. But it's cool. It has a daily scripture and it has like a devotional with somebody talking on it, and then it has prayer prompts. I mean, I used it. That's how I started my morning routine when I was going through the beginning phases of my sobriety journey. Is I would start the
Yeah.
mornings with the Bible app and I would journal, and so I really developed a prayer life because I didn't have one before. I mean, I would pray, but I didn't really understand it, and I didn't have this. this relationship with Christ where I could put him in everything. And now I see it like I'll pray all the time. Like if I'm going in a situation where I know there's someone I'm not really like that much or get uneasy, I pray, I pray for peace, to be kind, loving, and gentle, and to not be
Yeah.
reactive. And when I was going through the initial phases of my divorce, I did it a lot just so I could be filled with the Holy Spirit and not be reactive. And it calms you down, and it kind of,
Yep.
to me, it puts Christ at the front of it. And I want to put him in everything and not just, well, I'll just see you on Sunday when I go to church.
Right.
But I learned that from reading a book. I didn't get that from the Bible. I read a John Eldridge book called Beautiful Outlaw. That's where I learned
Oh,
that. So I was like, all
I'm
right,
gonna
cool,
have
I'll
to
do.
look that up.
It's a great book. Yeah.
I love it. I think that's a that's a great way to say it. And when people are at their lowest times, I think it also gives you something to want to have that purpose to work through what those struggles are and to know at the end of the day, maybe this is going to go around and round and it's not turning out exactly the way you like, but it's turning out the way that it's supposed to be. And that sometimes is very hard for people to acknowledge and recognize because we want to control our situations and our areas, right?
Hmm.
But that's not the way it works. So we just have to have the faith and just give up to that, right? Like
Yeah.
don't stop going through it, but you also have to know that whatever's on the other side of that journey is what the journey is supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think it's finding a teaching moment, and like what am I supposed to learn from this versus why is this happening to me and why does this never work?
Yes.
And it's not easy to get to that point. It definitely takes some work and some open mindedness. But I think you know I forgot the scripture. I can't quote it verbatim, but God's not going to give you anything that you can't handle,
Hmm.
and He's always going to be there. And so one thing for me is I grew up with a lot of church hurt, especially when I was going through my second divorce. And I try to just tell everybody, like, hey, you don't have to look a certain way or have a certain past to be able to have Jesus
That's
in your
right.
life. And I'll share this tonight. He wouldn't mind me doing this, but I have a really good friend. He's actually my tattoo artist, and he was a card carrying pagan for his whole life because he had a severe church hurt as a kid. He's finally seen the light and is following Christ, and it is the coolest thing because Will is one of those guys. He's covered in tattoos. He looks like he's part of a biker gang. If he walked in a normal church, people would probably like freak out or not want to sit by him. But it like that's the kind of guy I want to hang out with. That's the
That's
kind of guy.
exactly who I'd go sit by right
Yeah,
there.
right.
That would be my
Yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah. And I think we
That's
need more guys and girls too like that follow Christ but can take care of themselves, that have real testimonies and a real world experience. They can, almost like an outreach thing where they can relate to people versus, oh, I never made a mistake in my life. And, that kind of
then
thing.
you're
So,
that's superficial and then you're not
mhm.
telling anybody it's okay when you fall. I'm still going to be right here. Like I have fallen a lot, but I keep getting up and I'm gonna keep getting up and I'm gonna help everybody else get up too. It's funny you mentioned that about the tattoos. Sorry, I'm watching people walk by my house, which I
No,
don't
you're good.
generally like. Um, I have crucifixes on either side of my ribs, and I have a
Cool.
poppy for every service member that I have lost.
Wow.
And it just reminds me every day. I'm like, look at my arm, and I'm like, okay, you can do more today. I know you can, and it's just that reminder. Um, I have Freya carrying a fallen service member to heaven on my back. So it's like
Wow.
my faith is so strong that I don't care who sees it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing this and I'm going to at least be the moral version that I think I should be. I can't, you can't live up to other people's expectations all the time, but I at least know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's a good way to put it. And I think it's that courage, just sharing your faith and not being ashamed of it. And I think
Yeah,
the way the world is right now, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are searching for Jesus, but then you've got the mainstream media that's trying to push him out of the way, and there's a lot of false prophets out there. And so,
so many.
yeah, I'm gonna stay out of the. I was gonna get on my soapbox, but I'll get off of it. There's an individual that calls Nashville home that's very popular, and I grew up here, and I just don't see it like everybody. I won't say his name, but I don't want to get
Yeah.
sued. But he's very famous. But I think you
Don't get a
have to.
cease and
Yeah,
desist
no,
like
no, no, no.
me.
I don't want one of those. I don't want one of those. Um, Sean Ryan films in my town, and he has enough of those, so I don't want any of those either.
Oh, I keep seeing him. I'm like, man, are
Yeah.
you going to ever learn what's happening
No
here?
kidding, right? Yeah, but, it's like the Real Housewives of the military with all that.
So
Yeah.
much drama.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But I think it's and I think too for, like, Christians, sometimes it is intimidating to be open about your faith and to spread the gospel, and it took me a little bit of, figuring my place out. This podcast is only 6 months old.
I know you're killing it.
Well, I appreciate that, I appreciate that. I'm just stubborn. I just want it to be a professional and fun and look good product. But I think it takes courage, and I had a really cool pastor on my first episode, and he just was talking, and it inspired me to like, you know what? I don't care who comes on the show. I'm gonna talk about Jesus. If they don't like it,
Yeah.
then we'll go with it. But I don't want to be quiet about something. So
I feel
but
like currently also not to get in like all the politics, but I feel like currently there is a rejuvenation, if that's the right word that I want to be saying, of people that are either have left their faith and are coming back or that haven't ever had faith before. I feel like there's a strong movement across
hmm
I think across the world right now. It seems
yeah,
like people are
definitely.
really feeling like it's not something that you like you said only do on Sundays. Like people are being very open about it and not letting people back them in a corner where they can't talk about it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think you're seeing more of it now. And that's the good thing about social media is there's more available, more ways to find
Yeah,
him, and more people are being more outspoken. Really in the veteran community too. Eddie Penny is a guy that he's really been outspoken about his faith, and I think it's encouraging
I
to
love
see
it.
a guy like that that's done the job he's done. He's all tatted up. He doesn't look like a regular church dude. It's like, wow, that guy loves Jesus. That's awesome. I think it's
That's
really
what we
cool.
need.
Yeah,
We need people
100%.
that so that you don't have this expectation like I need to be in a button-down shirt or wear a long dress to the ground or something like
Mhm.
God can love everybody. Doesn't matter, and he does.
Yeah,
So that's we need to make sure that that's reassured with people.
definitely.
Sorry, I did go on a
No,
soapbox.
no, you didn't. You did. You're right though. I mean, I think people are searching for that. And, I think with more that comes out with everything with these Epstein files and just the evil that's lurking around. I mean, like I said earlier, you're gonna pick a side. I mean, and Christ already won. That's what
Yeah.
puzzles me with these cats doing all this ritualistic sacrifice. I'm like, do you realize Christ already won, right? Like, there's no way to change that. I mean, like, you know, like it's already written. It's over. I mean, we already know who wins. So
We
I don't
already
know.
know the ending.
Yeah, other than the power and the money out of it, like, okay, but that's temporary. When you die, you can't take it with you.
Right.
But
They're
just
just
this,
devious people,
yeah,
devious, soulless people. And
yeah,
unfortunately, they're making a name for themselves because it's the loudest people in the room, right?
yep,
And I want to believe that there are more good than bad in this world. And it's just unfortunate that what we're focusing on is we shouldn't even be giving him a platform to talk about. To be honest,
yeah,
he's dead. We
yeah.
shouldn't talk about it. We should just be more aware.
Mhm. That's a good point. Yeah, he's almost being a martyr through all this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I don't want my daughter growing up thinking that that's the right type of people we want to give attention to. We want to give attention to the people that are helping others.
Mhm.
The helpers need help. So those
Yeah,
type of people.
definitely. Do you have, like, a favorite verse or, like, a motto or a creed that's kinda helped you, Gia, through, like, t hard times or trials that you've gone through in your life?
I don't have a favorite verse, but I do constantly say that we're stronger together and iron sharpens iron. So,
Nice. Yeah.
and that could mean a lot of different things, right? It's not just iron sharpens iron in your faith, in
Mhm.
what I look like as a mom, in how I parent. I want other people who are good role models to be around me as well so I can learn from them, right? So everything that I've ever done, I want to be around people that either are better than me in those areas or that I will grow and learn from. And hopefully somebody also has that same thought with me, although I don't know that. We'll see.
I think that's good though, because you want to surround yourself with people that are going to better you and not bring you down, especially
Exactly.
if you're trying to overcome an addiction or you're, trying to stay sober. You don't want to be that. I think the environment plays a big role in that. At least
Yeah.
it did for me. And I
Yeah.
think you want to, it's like playing ball. You want to be around people that are better than you, so you become a better ball player.
Yeah, and I don't work in a field that's exactly the happiest every single day of my life. So,
Right,
I
right.
mean, I had to at one point, the general was like, if you don't stop answering your phones in the middle of the night and start getting sleep, I'm going to have to fire you because you're not taking care of yourself. So you can't help me take care of our service members. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's rude, first of all. But, I need that. I need people around me that also encourage to love themselves and to love others. And I think that's kind of where my faith came back in is like, I need to make sure that I'm okay and my people are okay
Hmm.
so that I can do the things I need to do.
That's 100% right. Yeah, that's a good point. You got to take care of yourself. It's easy to focus on others, but you got to take
Heck
care of
yeah.
yourself.
That's a work in progress.
It is, and that's the thing too. Like it's a journey. I mean, you're not gonna just wake up one day and say, "Okay, my mental health is 100%. I'm good to go." I mean, it's a daily thing. And I shared this earlier today, but I actually gave my testimony on the show here on Saturday, and I just uncovered some dark places that
Oh,
I wasn't expecting to uncover. And it's not easy for me either, even though I host a mental health podcast. I mean, I was talking about all my stuff. I was like, dang, man, I sat at it for like 2 days just because
oh,
you relive it and you go through it
yeah.
again. And it's healthy to,
Trauma.
it is. Yeah, you're right. And, but it's funny because sometimes people are like, oh, you must really have it all together. I'm like, nope. Just because I'm just because I'm hosting the show, it doesn't mean I mean, I'm working on it. I mean, I'm still every day I'm aware of it and I'm better than I was,
Yeah.
but I know in my head it's not. I'm never just gonna be at bam, I got it. Like it's gonna take that effort on a regular basis to be able to continue to evolve. And that's what I just try to be authentic with people and tell them, you gotta
And for the
put the
rest of
effort.
your life, that's
Yeah,
how
hundred
it's going to be.
percent,
It
hundred
doesn't
percent.
just go away one day, but
No,
I'm going to go back and listen to that now. I
Oh,
didn't,
okay.
I'd be
Yeah,
interested to hear that.
yeah.
I am very grateful that you take the opportunity to talk about your journey and then help other people talk about their journeys because I feel like it makes it more realistic for people to say like I can get through something or I can do this, right? If you show the journey of other people, you're teaching others through our strength that you can do this.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Something that I even before I started a podcast, I did a post couple few years ago, and I just talked about, like, I publicly acknowledged that I had a drinking problem because I was on this path of humility. And I told everybody, I had the what looked like on the outside, I had the family, I had the good job, I was in shape, blah 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 blah, but on the inside I was a complete mess. And
Mhm.
looks can be deceiving, and I had to humble myself and ask for help. And I tell people all the time, it takes more courage to ask for help than to stay silent. It
Yeah.
doesn't make you weak to ask for help from people. And it's easy to kind of put people on pedestals or envy others, but at the end of the day, we've all got stuff that we're carrying around. But I think for me, I just want to reach those people that maybe are in a place that I was in a few years ago, and they can get some help before everything, you know, falls apart and they have to rebuild it. That's kind of my
Yeah.
goal with it.
I love that. I know that when I went through my divorce, my I had a because I didn't ask for help. I would never ask for help. Like that's the point that I was at. Like everyone comes to me for the help.
Mhm.
One of my girlfriends moved in with me because she was so worried about me for that. Like, man, that was, I did not know bad things like that don't happen to me. And I was like, what the heck is all these feelings? But I was really blessed to have and still continue to have a good core group of friends that, when something is not going great in my life, I can always call them and be like, yo, can you come stay at my house?
It's
I'm
awesome.
not feeling it today. And likewise, right? Like we
Yeah,
have to look out for each other.
we do. Yeah, we do. And to tie it into the spiritual realm too, there's strength in numbers. And if you're by yourself, you're easier prey for the
Yes.
devil to come at you. And just to be clear for the audience, he can't possess you if you're a believer, but he can create strongholds. He can
Mhm.
torment you. And if you're by yourself, you're you're more wide
Susceptible.
open than if yeah, and then if you're with a group of people. And so I try to tell people like, hey, it's okay to ask for help. Surround
Yeah,
yourself with like-minded people. Be careful who you talk to, make sure you can trust them. But you know,
that answer.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Because you never know what
I
people's
learned that the
intentions
hard
are.
way, but
Yeah, oh me too. Yeah, me too. But I think it's showing that it's okay to reach out and to embrace that help when it's there. And it's still not easy for me. Like I had a couple people reach out to me after this weekend and said, "Hey, if you need anybody to talk to, we're here." And it's still weird for me to hear that. And I really appreciated them and I love them, but I'm still kind of like, "Oh no, I'm good." But then I thought, well, all right, maybe I do need to ask her. And I actually asked my girlfriend to come over Saturday night just because I mean, I'll just be honest, I was in a weird place. Like I
yeah.
was sitting in
After
that.
your testimony?
Yeah, so I had shared some stuff about like my darkest moments and where I almost really I got to the point where I was going to take my life and I just was talking about it and so it just stirred up the shame to
Yeah.
be honest with you and I it was weird. It's just processing it, still you relive it and then it's just inside of you and then it reminds me of I don't see my kids every day and so I was trying to stay above it, but it's hard to do it on your own, so
When you say shame, what do you mean? The shame in that you weren't doing well or the shame in
the shame more of just that I could get to that kind of point to where I would wanna do that, and then also the shame of 2 broken families because 'cause I've been divorced twice, so, just not having that ability to be with my kids, every day and
yes.
and be involved in their lives every day. And I understand this is where I'm supposed to be and that I'm a better dad as a divorced parent than if I would have stayed in a marriage, but it's still not having that, just that time every day like a normal routine. And so sometimes I kind of, I just think about it and I kind of drift in it. And that's really um, where I have to be self-aware and say, "Okay, you are a better dad now than you would have been if you'd have stayed
Yeah.
in that environment." So,
Yeah. You have to listen to yourself,
mhm,
right? You can always reach out to me too. Like,
thank you.
obviously, yeah. I mean, that was, I think, the worst part of my divorce also is like not having my kids every day. So,
Yeah.
but same thing, right? Like, you are probably a much better person now or happier with yourself
Mhm,
than staying in a place that's not conducive to where you want to be and the lifestyle you want to live and happiness and joy. And
mhm.
not that we can have that every day, but we can fight for it every day.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I do is I just try to stay grateful for what I have because the
Yes.
old version of myself was not like that. I was angry and pissed off and like, why is this happening? Now I try to say, look, Steve, you got a pretty good life. Be grateful for what you have. And the times that I have with my kids, I cherish them. And it takes a little bit of effort to get to that point, but once you can kind of see it that way, and I'll just be honest, being in a men's group is what helped me get to that point to be grateful and not
I love that.
look at the other side of the fence, be like, huh, that grass over there is really green. I wonder what they're doing. Because it's been hard for me to live in the moment. I've always been kind of two steps ahead or looking at the future and not living in the moment. And
Yeah.
every day is a gift. And I try to remind myself of that. And it gets woo woo sometimes when you hear that. But I'm like, oh yeah, no, I am grateful to be
I'm
here.
going to
And
send you something. I make, and I'm not a creative person in any capacity, so don't laugh at it, but I make all my friends gratitude jars.
cool.
And then they have like little pieces of paper in there. And I just always am like, okay, every day, write something that you're grateful for because there's going to be a day when you don't feel like you're grateful. And you can just remember and pull these things out and be like, oh, I do have a pretty rad life.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm grateful for all of the stress that I've had. It's made me the person that I am today. So I think thinking that way with that mentality, that will help you when you're feeling in the feels.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's really nice of you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make fun of you because you carry a gun.
I do. I do that.
That's funny.
and a lot of knives. My brother just came up to visit me. He's actually doing a ski race in Estonia this week,
Wow.
and he came to train up here. And he's like, Gia, your house is like a dude house. There's knives everywhere. You have a gym in your living room.
That's
He's
awesome.
like, and then I go downstairs and there's guns and knives everywhere. And I'm like, I didn't really think about it.
That's
Actually, I
funny.
just, stuff is where it is.
That's awesome. Well, you're in Alaska, you probably need all that stuff. There's all kinds of stuff in Alaska, kinds of critters.
All kinds of, I have these mom and this baby moose that keep walking in front of my
Oh,
yard every day. I listen, everybody says that these moose are the most dangerous, maybe because I've lived here my whole life, but they're blind, first of all.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, I think they depend on their other senses to hear you,
Oh,
smell you, all of that. But just stay out of their way. Like, you can't
yeah.
go pet one.
Right.
And they're in my
Right.
driveway all the time. And I'm like, I really need to get in my house. So I'm going to need you to mosey on out.
Dang, that's crazy.
But moose meat, best meat ever.
Oh, wow. Never had it.
So good.
Never had it. Hmm.
If I could get
So
you one in 24 hours, but it would totally thaw. It's so good though.
I
So
bet.
lean,
Yeah, I
good
bet.
protein.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what's on the horizon for you? Like, what are your goals for 26 with your foundation and stuff?
Yeah. So with the foundation, we are really definitely working hand in hand with my actual job. It's so blessed that every single position I've ever had has just led me further into helping veterans and first responders. And so when they called me about this job last year, they were like, "We have this position. You're the face of the clinic, so we do this trauma." And it has allowed me to help so many people. So I think through the foundation, working more on evidence-based protocol to help PTSD or major depressive disorder will kind of work hand in hand. And then we'll be doing these community outreach meetings with other organizations that are in the general Anchorage area that also provide those services, because it's one thing for me to say that we do this, but what if you come to me and you need help and that's not what we do? So I need to know all the other players, which I pretty much do, but there's new players come in all the time. So growing that for the foundation, I think is going to be huge. Then you, with Tactical Barbie, we're starting the podcast called Bullets of Wisdom.
Nice.
So I totally did it again because I said I put out a post and I was like, I'd love to talk to women that have maybe gone through struggles and how tell their testimonial and how they got over it, right? Specifically in the self-defense industry is what I was looking for. But then I got called out on it again because I didn't include men in it. And I was like,
Ha ha.
primarily, you just have to understand that I'm coming from my own, my own experience is what's shaping why I'm doing it. I don't
Right.
want to leave anyone out, but I
Right.
really want to have women on that could tell those stories that maybe there's a woman that is in an abusive relationship or
Mhm.
something and she doesn't know how to get out. And by hearing that, maybe that will give that person the strength and courage to leave the situation that they're in. I did say I'll do like men once a quarter.
Yeah.
So just to be fair.
Well, and I think too, like I've kind of got some feedback with my show, like, well, you just focus on men, so women aren't going to listen to it. But I've had several women on the show, and I said,
Yeah.
ultimately, it's because men are more stubborn and we don't ask for help. And I mean, I'm serious, and I think like having guests like yourself and coming on and sharing testimonies, it's going to help men, but also women are going to tune in, and they can understand maybe why their spouse or their boyfriend acts
Yes.
acts a certain way, or I'm a trainer by day, so I interact with people all the time, and I just hear these stories, and I'm like, well, a lot of us are the same way. A lot of us don't want to talk
Yeah.
about our feelings, and it takes work. But so yeah, I do promote men's mental health, but in the end of the day, it's all, in my opinion, it's all intertwined because it's going to affect relationships. It's going to benefit
That's right.
relationships. But trying not to get pigeonholed. But yeah, people will say, "Oh, it's only for men." Like, no, not really. But but
It's for anybody who needs the help, right? Like
exactly, exactly, yeah.
you never know who you could affect or who you could speak to that in particular episode, and somebody may just needed to have heard that.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely.
So I appreciate what you do.
Well, that
We
goes
will
both
not
ways.
be talking about mental health on mine very much, I don't think, unless it somehow plays into the storyline.
Right.
But I think I do enough of that all day long. So
Well, and it's funny you say that because a lot of people will tell me, "Well, you should talk about fitness on your show." I'm like, "Nope," because that's all I talk about at work. I don't wanna talk about
yes.
fitness. I wanna talk about mental health because to me, it's making a bigger impact, and I can relate to it from my testimony, and I'd get tired of the fitness industry and just hearing about it at work all day. I mean, it obviously it plays a role because there's the physical component to mental health, and it's important to work out and to train, but I don't wanna just stay in that, that modality the whole time talking about fitness and nutrition. Like, let's talk about mental health and how we can relate and share and grow instead of just talk about, I mean, what body part did you train today or what
Yeah.
workout do you do? It's like, it's like,
Well, I think also then if you stick to what you're doing, right, that opens the doors and allows people to see you as a role model or someone that is just going to speak your truth no matter what, as opposed to, depending, I see all the time, influencers like get these huge followings and then they stop being who they are. Like what
yeah.
the original purpose that they started this for
Hmm.
has completely changed them as humans and what they're putting out there. And so I think just being so honest with what I've seen that you've done and just this conversation, I think that is going to affect and change more lives than being a fitness influencer.
Yeah, big time. And I've already seen that just from the 6 months of doing the show. And you're right, there are some big name podcasters that have a good friend of mine, John Martinez, and I talked about this. He's got the Good Leader podcast, and you've watched them, they change, they turn into
Yeah,
these like Instagram celebrities, and they go from where they could help people to, especially in the veteran community, and now it's more about, he said this, he
them.
did this to me, I'm going to get my boys, like, what is this, high school, like we're on the playground?
Right.
It's just, you have a platform that's huge, use it to help people and stop bitching
Yes.
and whining every day about who called you a name or who's suing you. It's like, dude, get over it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
And just be
it just gets,
you. Just
yeah,
be an honest
yeah,
version of you because at some point, the real you is going to come out.
yep,
And if you've got this fake personification and you think that that's the only reason that people like you, that's not being true to anybody. Like, I have people they do sometimes tell me all the time, like they have an idea of what I'm like, and I'm probably the most down to earth person ever. Like this is who I am. I'm not gonna apologize for it.
yeah,
I'm gonna keep growing as a human and try to do the things that I can do, but I'm never gonna be fake on it.
no.
It's too much work.
Yeah, it is. And somebody said this to me a long time ago. When you get sober, you have to learn to embody who you really are because you can't numb anymore. And it's a
Yeah.
process and it takes time, but then you have to learn to live that life and also love yourself. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me is I can embrace who I really am, and I don't have to worry about, I'm going to put on a performance because I'm drunk, or I
Yes.
can drink to get along with somebody or to be the extrovert when I'm actually more of an introverted person. But on this platform and in life, I just feel like I can finally be Steve, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not a shell of my former self because I didn't get the job title that I wanted in my military
Yeah.
career. Now I can just say, yeah, this is who I am and this is what I've been through, and it's not all pretty, but you know what? I'm a better person now because I've
Yes.
put the, and I'm not better than anybody, but I put the work in and still
But better
working.
for yourself.
Right. And yeah, definitely, definitely. And I always say this, I want to be an asset, not a liability. And I was a liability for a long time in both of my marriages. And so now I try to be an asset and to contribute in a way that's going to help people and not just, get by every day. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. I think it's pretty amazing, and I appreciate that you're doing that, and hopefully, people will I don't wanna say again, I don't wanna use the word role model, but hopefully you will impress upon other people that it's okay to not be okay, as long as we just keep pushing forward.
You're right. Yeah. And that goes for you too, though. I mean, you're doing a lot. And I think, I mean, I live in an area that's pretty military first responder, for like the Gary Sinise Foundation is here, and he does a
Oh,
lot. Yeah, one of my clients works for the foundation. They do a lot of stuff, and so
yeah,
there's a lot of support in my town for first responders, veterans. But it's nice to meet somebody that's actually doing something for them, not just
thank you.
throwing money at them or saying I put a bumper sticker on my car or whatever. Like, 'cause I mean, I grew up in it. My brother's active duty. My dad retired army. So I mean, it's been a big part of my family, and
Yeah.
it means a lot. And I see it from my sister-in-law. They've got 3 kids. David's gone all the time doing God knows what. And it's just cool to see when people actually care about the military and actually like support them versus just, I'm gonna write a song about it, but I don't really care about y'all. That's my shot at
I
Nashville.
honestly love them so much that I can't even imagine that not being my community. I used to work out with this colonel who was one of my best friends, and he took his life a few years ago. But he said to me one day, he's like, Gia, you got to stop dating within the community. You got to find people outside. And I was like, but what would I talk to them about? I don't know what else to say. Like, we'd sit down and I'd start talking about guns or
Yeah,
veteran issues. Those are the two things that we're going to talk about.
that's
Like,
funny.
it's hilarious.
That's funny. That's awesome.
I'm a
What?
mess, but I'm a mess in progress.
Well, I wouldn't call you a mess. I mean, you're doing a lot to help people, and that's, especially in this day and age, that says a lot because more
Thank you.
people need to be like that. Especially in the communities where you're putting yourself in harm's way for sure. Well,
For
as
sure.
we're wrapping up, I want to read a scripture real quick. Today's
I would
verse of
love
the
that.
day. It's Matthew 7:12. Do for others what you would want them to do for you. This is the meaning of the law of Moses and the teaching of the prophets. And I think that kind of applies to what we're talking about tonight because you want to treat others like you want to be treated. You may not get that in return, but be a light in this world of darkness and,
Yes.
contribute and help people. And if they don't want it or accept it, that's okay, but still be a contribution in a positive way versus a negative way.
I love that. It almost made me cry as soon as you start saying it because I
So-
knew what you were going to say. And I was just like, oh, my heart. So thank you for that. I
You're
appreciate that. And
welcome.
thank you again for what you do because I think it does make a difference.
Well, thank you too. And as we're kind of wrapping up here, if there's someone out there listening right now, Gia, that's on the edge of giving up, what would you say to that person?
I would say call someone, connect. You cannot, community is what's going to keep us alive, right? Isolation is the worst thing. And I know because that's what I was doing. Find a friend, find a community, a hobby, something that you can be a part of the bigger picture that's going to hold you when you need it the most. And then hopefully, when someone else needs help, you'll have already gone through this and be there. So find a community. And if it's at the exact moment, call 911. Like, do not let yourself go down that path at all. But find people or a person. Find somebody that can be there for you when you're struggling.
Good advice. Good advice.
Thank you.
Where can our viewers and listeners learn more about you?
Sure. So obviously my Instagram is like my go-to for everything. And then we have an Instagram excuse me, for the National Warrior Foundation and Tactical Barbie. Just remember no I in Barbie. Don't want to get that letter again. And we also have Facebook. I have a personal Facebook page. I generally will go and look at somebody's page just to kind of see because I get some random stuff in
Oh, I'm
my
sure. I'm sure you do.
like,
I'm sure
whew,
you do. Yeah.
and then if it's a professional link that somebody wants, I have a LinkedIn and I'm very active on it. We talk a lot about mental health on there. So I think anything but the TikTok, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's a weird platform. I was told to use it to grow YouTube. I will say that it is easier to edit videos with, but I don't understand anything about it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but yeah.
I have
So
one for the foundation and I think
okay.
I've used it one time. I'm like, this is it like I need my daughter to teach me how to use it. That's what I need.
I need help with all this stuff. I mean, it is like it's insane. I mean, I've got some friends I'll ask like, how did you do that? Like, how did you make that video? And it's like you gotta take a course in it to know how to build some of this stuff.
Just
But
the video you made today, I was like, how did he do that so
you
quick?
know how I did it?
Chat
TikTok.
GPT,
Oh, TikTok. Well,
TikTok.
I made the image with chat, but I did the video with TikTok because they do this auto cut feature. I sound like a teenager, and
Oh,
it puts music to it, and yeah, it's
wait,
way
what?
more, yeah, it's way more user friendly than Instagram. Instagram, I don't know how to do it on that. But then there's an app called my girlfriend knows how to do all this stuff. Shelly's really good at this stuff, but it's called CapCut you can use. And so, but there's people hiring out, folks to do all this for them. And I'm just one of these people, I'll just sit down and Google it or chat it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure out how to do this. And I can figure it out. A lot of it's trial and error, but yeah, it's kind of funny. Like it's
I'm gonna have to
available.
that's gonna be my weekend goal. Take the
Yeah.
Christmas tree down and then
Yeah.
get all this stuff going.
I know, right? We sing Merry Christmas. That's
I
funny.
just am like, I have not had time to do it. Every day I take down one more thing,
Yeah.
just a little at a time. That's all I can
I'm
do.
not judging. I'm not judging. I wouldn't even have noticed it if you didn't say it because my camera's right here and you're down here on my laptop. So I've been looking
Oh,
up
yeah.
here. So I probably wouldn't even have noticed it. But yeah, that's funny.
I called myself out.
You did. You totally did. Now, when we do the video on YouTube, we can see the whole backdrop. So we'll see it then. That's all right.
It's all right. It's all good.
That's right. Well, I'm gonna pray us out. Is there anything you want to
I love
add
it.
before I do the prayer?
No, I think I'm good. And this has been really lovely. Thank you very much for having me on, and thank you for sharing part of your story with me as well. And I think it's awesome.
Thank you, and thank you for coming on tonight. I really appreciate your
Yeah.
time. I know you've been really busy lately, and it's an honor to sit down and talk with you tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Give me another week and a half. We'll be totally fine as wine.
There we go. All right. Lord, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for bringing Gia into my life so we can talk and spread awareness for mental health. And also, Lord, to talk about you and to spread your gospel. Lord, I just pray that you'll be with our listeners and the viewers tonight, that you'll bring them peace, that you'll bring them power, and you'll bring them purpose in their lives, Lord. And just know that you are always there for them, that you love them, and that you'll watch over them. And all they need to do is just ask for you, just ask for your help and your love. Lord, I just pray that you'll continue to be with Gia, bless our family, protect her as she helps others, and just be a light in her life, Lord. Fill her with your Holy Spirit, cover her in your blood, and protect her. Lord, I pray that you'll bless this podcast. I pray it reaches those that need to hear it. And I'm grateful for the opportunity tonight to share your gospel and spread awareness for mental health. It's in your mighty name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. I
Just,
love that. Thank you.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was lovely and beautiful, and I appreciate it. I
yeah.
appreciate all your kind words and what you're doing out there. And if I can ever be of any help at all, if you have someone struggling and they might need other support or they're not in Nashville, definitely let me know.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Heck
Really
yeah.
appreciate that.
We got to take care of each other. That's what makes the world better.
We sure do. We sure do. This has been the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. Thank you for watching tonight here on YouTube and listening on Spotify and also on Amazon and Apple Podcasts. Be sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And I drop new episodes every Wednesday and every Thursday. So you don't want to miss one. Make sure you click that bell so you'll get notifications. Gia, thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming on tonight. I
Thank you
really
so
appreciate
much.
it.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate your story. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for
We'll talk
listening.
very soon.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Have a
God
great
bless you.
day.
You too.
God bless you.